All right, folks, Haynes here, and welcome to another quick video here where we are going to be learning a little bit about the split and the thicken tools, which are some pretty fun and easy tools to use, and you could do some pretty zany stuff with surface modeling on these. It allows you to get some nice organic shapes like our caramel that's sort of dripping down our apple here. Nice, easily, and organically. It'd be a lot harder without the split and thicken tool. But without further gilding the lily and with no more ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm just going to open a new part studio here. And let's get started with the sketch on the front plane. I type N for normal view. And I guess just in my mind, an apple is maybe 3.5 inches tall. And then I'll just grab another line here, and we need our stick for dipping our apple. That's maybe 5 inches, and then thickness, I think maybe 1/3 of an inch or around 1/3 of an inch. So half of that, because we're only doing the radius. Let's go with 0.15, so a little less than 1/3 of an inch. And while I'm doing all these lines, I'm making sure they are vertically constrained. You could tell that's happening because you will have a little yellow dotted line behind it. And this one, I'm going to make double sure that I'm constraining it also to the origin point. So now I have all black lines. Everything is perfectly constrained, but we're about to ruin that because we are not going to be constrained any longer. We're going to do something a little bit organic here. So I'm just kind of going to go for what in my mind is the shape of an apple, and I'm going to start here on the bottom point and I'm going to end here on the top point. I'm just going to do something a little bit like maybe something like that, question mark. Yeah, that's decently apple shaped. I'm not completely happy with it. I'm going to make it a little bit thicker of a boy here. Yeah, that looks a little bit better to me. Cool. So I am happy with that now. And like I was just doing, if you're unhappy with any of these, you can move them however you want. I am happy, so I'll just undo that. Some points you may have intentionally or unintentionally constrained them, like this one here. If I was trying to move it up and down, I could not. I did intentionally constrain this to the origin point, but if you wanted to unconstrain it, if you highlight over a given point, you can see off to the sides what it's constrained to, and you can click on that individual constraint and hit the delete key on your keyboard, and that will unconstrain it. I'm not going to do that because it was intentional and I am happy with it. But yeah, so basically we have half of our candy apple done, and to get it fully done, we're just going to use the revolve tool up here and revolve it around itself. Because I was already in the sketch and I had a constrained shape, it automatically selected my sketches there. And then we just need to identify that center line. Really, it could be either one of these. I'll just pick this one just because it's there. And it looks good to me. It's going to be a full revolve. So we'll check our check mark. So that is looking pretty decent. Next thing we're going to do is use the plane tool. I'm going to make an offset plane off of the front. So make sure it says offset. And then your offset distance doesn't really matter. You just want to make sure it's completely in front of your apple shape. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm not actually too happy with that apple shape. But in Onshape, it's okay because you could go back and change things up a bit if you're not happy. That to me looks better. Okay, I'm going to stay with that now. And back to plane one, I'm going to make a sketch on plane one that I just made. And I'm just going to use the spline tool, and I'm just going to make some sort of organic, looks like droopy lines out here. And that is what is going to create our caramel for our caramel apple, our caramel coating. And now we're going to use the split tool after we accept our sketch. So we're going to use the split tool. It's right up here in the center of your screen, or towards the center of the top bar. We're going to click split. We want to split a face, not an entire part, just a face. So we're going to split. We're going to click on face. The face we want to split is the face of our apple. Entities to split with. We are going to click on our spline that we just made. And that looks good to me, so I accept it. So technically, we could just add an appearance to this face and call it good. That's not what we're going to do, but we could just do that. What we're actually going to do is we're going to use the Thicken tool, which I always have a hard time finding on the top here because I don't use it too often. So I'm just going to type it into my search bar here. And you can do that with any tool if you forget where it is. And I'm going to thicken this surface up here. Not that thick. That's a little bit too thick of a boy for me. So maybe 0.1 will look good. Yes, 0.1 does look good. And then this hard edge doesn't look super organic to me. So I'm going to fillet that as well. Let's use 0.05 so we could get, because that's half of what we had put in as our thickness. So that'll round it off nicely. And yeah, from here, let's just color things in. So I'm going to change my whole part color to the color of the apple. So we're going to edit the appearance for our part over here in the parts list. We'll make this apple red. No, man, maybe that or that red. Sure. And yeah, now let's let me get rid of these planes real quick so we could work easier. Now we're just going to add appearance to individual faces. So let's pick a color that's good for our stick. That looks pretty good. Maybe one darker than that. Yep, that looks pretty good. And then up top, let's add appearance. And because I just practiced this, I know that there's not a color that looks good for the caramel for me. So you could either Google a hex code that looks good for color and type it down here, or you could go over to the mixer and manually pick something that you think looks good. Still too dark. Still too dark. Maybe that looks good to me in terms of a caramel color. I'm colorblind, so I kind of am guessing. And then I'll select my other two edges. And the sharp edges don't look great, but to get a better view of how things actually look, you can go over here to our render options and get rid of the hidden edges. And now you can see it is fairly organic looking, but it's easier to work with the edges on. But if you want to see how something will actually look without those sharp edges, because those sharp edges wouldn't appear if you, say, printed it on a 3D printer, that's a good way to do it. And from here, let's go ahead and we just need to add the stem. Everything else is G to G at this point. So let's turn our planes back on, and we're going to use the plane tool yet again. Still going to be offset. We're going to offset from the top plane. And I'm just going to drag something up to a little bit under our top edge here. Doesn't super matter where it's going to be. And we're going to do a few more planes. So offset from the plane we just made. Sure, about right there looks good. And we're making our stem here is what we're doing with these planes. We're going to wind up using the loft tool. And yeah, maybe about like that should be good. Okay. So now let's make those two planes disappear, our last two planes, and we'll make a sketch here on plane 2. Our stem will start at the origin, so let's start at the origin. And then size doesn't really matter, just put something in around stem shaped. Turn plane 3 back on, and we're going to sketch in another circle. This one we're going to offset from our original circle a little bit, and make it a little bit larger. And plane 4 will be turned on and offset even further and even bigger, just a little bit bigger. And we're looking good there. So just so I could grab my, let's turn these planes off to make it easier. It's very difficult to grab this full circle with the part on. So I'm just going to turn it off from now. Go up to my loft tool, and I'm going to loft from our first circle to our second, and then to our third. It pinches in a little bit here, but that's actually okay for us because that part is generally hidden, so it doesn't super matter. We could change that in our profile orientation, but we do not need to. Okay, and if that looks good to you, again, you can always go back and change something if you don't like how it's looking. It looks good to me, but we do want to make sure we're adding to our candied apple there. Oh, whoops, I accidentally added that face. Now we want to merge with part 1, so we're good to go there. It says merge with part 1 down here. We're good to go, and then we'll just color in our stem. Again, let's go back to our mixer. Pick a brown that looks good. I'm content with that one. And we'll put it back in. Hey, come on now. Shaded without edges. Throw it into orthographic view. Turn our origin off so we can get a good look. And yeah, that one I'm pretty happy. I like how the caramel's drooping down. Went with a red apple this time instead of a green one. Brought my caramel down a little bit further compared with my first one. But yeah, and yours won't look exactly like mine. And if you make 2 of them back to back like I just did, they won't look exactly alike. And that's the fun in doing these kind of organic shapes. But yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you learned a little bit about the split and the thicken tools. You can also split parts, but that's more for if you do want 2 separate parts, or if you want to do something in one part and remerge them. But split and thicken is a very good, very simple way to alter surfaces. But yeah, hope you enjoyed, and cheers. Have a great day.